City Attorney's report. City Attorney.
Just to give a brief update on the casino ballroom, there has been some progress. The attorney, Rick's going to come up for the city on the claim this year. These are the attorneys for Morganti and REG, and Rick's going to give maybe a brief update as to where we're at.
And if you could speak into the microphone too.
Sure. As our attorney, he's representing the city, and just wanted to continue to keep you informed because, you know, we had the issue a month or so ago, so I didn't want it to be a surprise.
And this is a new face. Do you want to explain that?
Oh, introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Rick Chavez.
He was actually here last time, but he was quiet, sitting in the back.
Yeah,
Got
smart guy.
front and center this time, buddy.
Absolutely. I'm Rick Chavez. I'm with the law firm Siglin, Lubitz, and O'Connell, downtown West Palm. Mike Kennedy was the face that you've seen before. He's now in-house counsel with Ranger Construction. So the privilege of representing you in this matter has fallen to me. As an update for the casino ballroom, the repairs and the mock repairs have actually commenced as of yesterday. They're starting in the northeast corner, and they've got a elaborate setup to keep life safety issues addressed. They expect the total time for the repairs to take approximately 30 total days, 29 more to go. Our experts are observing the testing on the waterproofing as well as the testing on the doors themselves. So we have technical folks that are looking at what's being done by REG, who has counsel here, and Mr. Price, who's here as well, and by Morganti, who has counsel here. And Mike Olnick wanted to be here, but he's in Washington, D.C., so we're here, and that's the update. If you have any questions?
City Attorney, do you have any more information?
And again, just you know, we've extended the time, and there has been progress being made. And again, just wanted to make sure that you were kept informed.
Okay. Vice Mayor.
All right, so at the end of 30 days, this is going to be resolved, is that correct?
Yeah, that's the expectation.
If it's not resolved, what?
You're in no different position than you were before the tolling.
All right, I'd like to make a motion on the 31st day. If that is not signed off by an engineer as being structurally sound and everything we need, we immediately file a motion to the court against Morganti and REG.
I have a question. What was the original tolling agreement? Was the date on that? What, didn't it give it till September?
I believe it was not, right, I think it was October. I think it was October 7th or 8th. Was the time that we had. And
Yeah,
at this point,
the third amendment to the tolling agreement extends the time until October 7th. All it does is extend the time. You're not in litigation.
and again, that's not the deadline for you to file a lawsuit.
No,
There's still an additional time period after that just stops that clock from ticking while they try and work through the issues.
And my suggestion is on the 31st day, if they do not resolve the issues, that we file the papers necessary to take them to court.
31st day of what?
They started yesterday. You got 29 days from today. And the day after that, if it's not resolved, signed, sealed, and delivered, tested and approved, we file legal action.
Let me just ask, Rick, you're not saying that in 30 days the project will be complete. You're saying in 30 days the testing will be complete.
Yeah,
And then,
let me be
maybe
clear.
explain a little bit more, because at the end of 30 days, we're kind of setting ourselves up for failure, I think.
Well, and I don't know that that's necessarily true, Glenn. What's being done is a mock-up. It is a test to see if the solution will work in all locations. Rather than tearing everything apart and trying something and then determining that everything is not going to work, you find an area, part of the project where it causes the least disruption to active activities. With our experts' help, we've developed a protocol, or actually REG and Morganti have developed a protocol vetted by our experts to test, to put in a mock-up, which takes 30 days to do. That's what we've been told. During that 30-day process, it's not like they show up at the end and test. They're there evaluating as things are extracted and things are returned to see how it's all put together and to judge its functionality. I think they'll be able to tell us, our experts, by the end of that 30-day period, if that mock-up is successful and recommended for implementation everywhere else. And if so, then I expect that Morganti and REG will put it into place everywhere else.
Just to follow up on reference, he's already made the motion here. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
So what I'm hearing you say then is, if we, in 30 days, say, oh, we think this is going to work, we have to wait and then see if it works?
Yes,
How long is that going to take?
30 days.
Another 30 days?
No.
No.
I think by the end of the 30-day period, the testing will have been done, that corner will have been, the mock-up will have been completed and tested.
Yes.
And we'll know whether that is something that our experts, the folks that have the technical expertise, are recommending for implementation elsewhere or not.
And if they recommend for implementation and it doesn't work,
No,
where are we then?
that,
No, I'm speaking now.
One at a time, please. If I might, Vice Mayor.
I'm tired of the Morganti RG scenario.
I understand, but
It's a freaking circus.
I understand, but let's look at solutions. The solution
The
is.
solution
no,
should
no,
have been
no.
3 years ago.
Okay, I understand. What I'm trying to get to is what our attorney is trying to say.
And I'm looking for clarification.
But that's
here.
what, I'm trying to get it for you because you're not getting it with your current line of questioning, so work with me here.
Okay,
Okay, the question is that, what he's saying is that, so they do the testing works, then they would therefore then start to apply that method to the rest of the areas where the issues are, correct?
That would be
Now,
my-
his question is, if it doesn't work, how long does it take to go through the whole testing again for another option to surface? That's the question.
Yeah, I think if the testing is unsuccessful, then you have the remedies that you have today, which include commencing a default against the bond, starting litigation, and hiring our firm or somebody to get you a piece of paper that says, the city a lot of money.
Alright, well, if the time period that we gave them in the tolling agreement, Glenn, is to September or October or whatever, but wouldn't they then, since we've already voted on that, have the opportunity to come up with yet another solution? To that, I'm just trying to find the
Right,
layout.
you're saying that if in 30 days this testing doesn't succeed,
Correct.
and they need to try a different method of testing.
Yes.
I think that's another conversation we're gonna have. I mean, there's so many possible scenarios. I go back to Vice Mayor Maxwell, at that point, the Commissioner may very well say, that's enough, or you may say, let's try another test. I think we're all optimistic that the testing will work. And until 30 days passes, we're all speculating as to whether it will work, and if it does work, then it can be applied. And I'm guessing to apply it through the rest of the project is gonna take at least another 45 days.
Yeah, I couldn't speak to that, but perhaps the other folks can, how long it takes to, I mean, what I do know is that a lot of this has to do with the cure time of the product, and you just have to have it,
Right.
so much time to do.
Right, paint has to dry.
I'm just confused as to, I thought we gave them till October to come up with a solution and to test and not test. Obviously, we can come back each meeting, Vice Mayor, and say, okay, they're not holding up. If we find that there's some sort of reason or way that they're not being realistic or they're not trying to actually remedy the situation, then we can obviously take legal action if we need to. But I thought we actually came up with a time frame to give them the opportunity to remedy the situation. And obviously, if something was not copacetic, we could take legal action if we needed to, but we haven't even exhausted one opportunity to fix it that's been tried, correct?
You're correct.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
I want to remind everybody that when we made that agreement to extend the tolling period, we were not told about the leaks that I'm under the assumption continue to this day for the vendors on the first floor. We were not told about that. Now, are you going to tell me, City Manager, that there are no leaks as a result of what's going on upstairs?
Currently, staff is stuffing towels into the door to stop the water from intruding into the areas where the cracks in the floors exist. If they
And why were we
solve,
told that?
because it's not leaking, if they solve the issue with the doors and the balcony, those issues should go away. If I could ask a question?
Yes.
And it's my understanding, maybe we need to clarify that, after the 30 days testing, you have a solution. There's going to be issues that need to be brought back to the commission to approve the solution, because it will not be what was originally designed, most likely. Don't know what that is, but those differences need to be understood before you accept the project. And I'm sure there's going to be potentially cost differentials. So let's be very clear. It's not just come up with a solution, fix it, and everything's going to be happy. They're going to have that and bring it back to you for some form of acceptance as owner. That's why we've been saying for all this time is we're not engineering or choosing that. Give us a solution that we can bring to you as the owner reps to say whether or not you like it. If it's burlapping the door shut, I'm not sure that you want to do that. So let's cautiously and optimistically proceed with this, it sounds like they're gonna have a solution in place. A solution, but they're still gonna have to bring it back, is that correct?
That is exactly right. So what happens as a result of this testing is, optimistically, we have a program that we collectively, legally, and your experts recommend for approval. Then you're welcome to ask the questions, and I suppose at that particular commission meeting, we'll have the folks, the experts there to answer any technical questions that any of you may have. If approved, then it gets implemented. I still tend to think that if this process should all be able to happen by the October 7th date, but I think that was my recollection of the last discussion was, because I remember that the emotion that, enough's enough, time to get it done. And I think it should all be done by that date.
Commissioner Amoruso?
I, just for clarity, so you're telling me that if in 30 days this process works, everything's going to be fixed and done by October 7th? Or just, what's the timeline? If this works, what's our timeline? Because we're going into season,
Sure.
and then we've got a lot of weddings and a lot of things that it's going to affect up there.
I'm just gonna turn it over to Morganti's counsel to be precise.
Hello, everyone. We met last meeting. This fix is...
Could you state your name for
Yeah,
the
sorry, it's
record?
Robert Carlson, Council for Morganti.
Thank you.
This is to prove the concept that was developed by REG and Morganti and your experts, to make sure this fix works. Then we have to implement it, and that's going to have to be something that we consider with the city to determine how to minimize the impact on your revenue. So we're going to have a discussion as to how you want us to proceed with doing the full-scale fix. We can do it in sections once we know after 30 days that it works. Do it in sections to minimize your non-use of the project. I don't think you want us to shut it down while we do the entire ballroom floor. So we're going to, exactly, so we need to work with I'm not sure who controls the scheduling to find out how exactly you want it. It could be done quickly if you want to shut this ballroom down, which I know you don't want to do, or it might take a little time to work with the sections to minimize the impact. So we don't have an answer today as to how long it takes them to fix. That's all going to depend on schedule.
Okay. And what else? Commissioner McCoy?
I-
I thought you were done. Hold on, let Commissioner Amoruso have his follow-up.
Just follow up, city manager, can we watch that and be very careful in talking to Lauren and staff about exactly what's going on? Just like, in Palm Beach, they have no construction during season. We need to make sure that we fix the problem as quickly as possible, but also that we're not jeopardizing funds that are coming in or things that are already booked up there.
Do we get a warranty?
Those are all legitimate questions. Also, does this include the door solution?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so it's both.
Yeah, the test section includes one of the doors that are going to be structurally sealed, and the other is going to have the modified load threshold. If you recall, there's two fixes. We're going to steel doors, have a modified threshold. This is going to allow us to test the drainage system that's being put in, as well as the structural sewer doors and the doors that have the modified threshold. So it's going to test every portion of the full-scale repair.
Vice Mayor?
I'm gonna play along, okay? At what point in this scenario does the liability to Morganti and REG end? Because it sounds to me like we're gonna be pussyfooting around with you folks for quite some time while you go through this solution that probably will not work because, like I said before, you built the Empire State Building in 100 days, in 1 year. I'm so upset about this. This has been going on for years. Absolutely unconscionable. You people cannot figure out how to keep water out of a building. It makes me boil. And we're having this conversation, well, we go to the little section here, and we'll get our engineers here, we'll do this. When does it end? When does your liability, when will the city release their liability for this project? Based on whatever they do or they don't do going into the future.
Not until you're satisfied.
Well, that could go on for another 2 or
Hopefully
3
not.
years.
I mean, hopefully, I think everyone's goal is the October 7th date. I think everyone's goal is to have this wrapped up. Now, I don't think anybody can promise you that's gonna happen by that day. Again, the purpose of tonight was to just give you an update, let you know, there is progress being made. There is progress. Is it light speed or the light that maybe everybody would like? No, but there is progress. and I felt like there was a period of time that the commission really wasn't being kept up to date as to what was going on.
Darn your update.
Darn the update, right?
Nor are we given all the facts, nor are we given all the facts about the water intrusion.
And also, I want you to appreciate that just because you're doing a small test section, doesn't mean that it's any quicker to do the full-scale repair, because even though you're doing a small section, it still has to cure or be coordinated as the larger section would.
Mr. McQuinn?
I think what we're looking for here, and I suspect the intent of the attorney, our plan, was, you know, are we on course? Are we not on course? Are we going south or are we going north? And I think the answer is, there are a lot of, with all due respect, it's not easy to build stuff that doesn't leak on the ocean. It's not easy. And it's a certain amount of, you try a bunch of materials and you try, and then if you want ADA access and all these other things, it's a difficult problem to solve. And it's not like you just go look it up on page 62 of the engineering manual for doors, you know, it's not. If it was, we would have done it the first time. So my sense is you're on a roll, you've got to, I'm quite happy that I believe there was quite a bit of discussion with our expert as far as how do you test this, because that's a big deal. Do you blow 30 fire trucks at it, or, you know, a reasonable amount? And some agreement with people, technical people representing us, we're involved in that. It's probably a pretty reasonable test. Is it going to be perfect? The thing that I would say to our fellow commissioners is, I'm getting the sense, yes, everybody's taking it seriously, you're moving forward, you got a plan. At this point, I think we are best served by not getting all antsy, because you kind of want this solution for two reasons. One, Commissioner Amoroso's point, we don't want to cut into our season that badly. And the other is you want to leave your solution sitting out there for a while and find out when you leave it in the elements, is it still working? So I would say full speed ahead with your test, do everything you got to do to test it, let them go, let them keep going, and during the process of figuring out, do we like the test, is everybody pretty happy with the results, which maybe they will be, maybe they won't. That's why you do experiments, and that's why you do engineering. So let's let them keep doing what they're doing. I think they're on a roll.
I think we're, for the most part, all on the same page in regards to seeing it go through. Are we happy? No, we're not happy to be in this position. You know, I don't think any of us are.
No.
Especially with season, but we've already hashed that out a million times before. Now let's see the solutions happen and get them fixed, and let those fixes be lasting fixes. We're going into season, and we need a functioning room, we need to lease a space, we need to get our business model working for the city and for our coffers, and that's it.
I think there was somebody.
We've been very, very patient. Some losing their patience. One.
That was getting married there in
Yeah,
December, I think.
Well, no, I said it was this weekend. I said if everybody's, just picture, everyone's daughter is getting married this weekend at the casino ballroom, and it's supposed to rain.
Make it work.
Remind them of that, okay?
And our staff makes it work.
And our
Staff's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, city manager, do you have a report? No? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.